Well, I was drafted in 1942. And I've been in the Army 10 months making training films at Fort Ord. While I was in the Army, though, I got to collaborate with the very famous Mexican-American choreographer, Jose Limon. We created this poem that was to be sung and danced by soldiers. I also teamed up with William Saroyan. He's the Pulitzer Prize-winning author. And we did a benefit for the Soldier Service Club. It's called the Gay 90s. And on March 31st, 1943, I saw the world premiere of Oklahoma at the St. James Theater in New York City. It was not sold out, sir. I was a technician, third class at the time, and it was arranged for me to go see opening night. There were rows and rows of soldiers, all in uniform, in seats especially reserved for us. I was treated with great respect by all concerned. In the planning stages of Oklahoma, Oscar Hammerstein sent me an early draft of the script, and I was generally pleased. I understood that we were not simply renaming Green Grow the Lilacs, which had been played with old songs. I understood that new songs were to be sewn into the fabric of the story, and that Aunt Eller and Laurie and Curly and Judd, no longer Jeter, would sing when, as we say in the theater, emotion becomes too great to speak. Before curtain, and grateful the lighting was muted, I sat very quietly and glanced around at the audience. The producers were there, and Oscar and Dick, and they were all watching from the wings and from the balconies, trying to gauge the audience's reaction. And I could have joined them, but I elected not to, and they didn't press. In short, I was experiencing the jitters of any opening night, but this was the biggest opening night that I had ever experienced. And so I sat and I tried very, very hard to be grateful and pleased that Green Grow the Lilacs was finally getting its due. But my panic was palpable and conflicting. Was I more afraid of failure or success? I admit to struggling with feelings of inadequacy, of having fallen short. I kind of felt like that mother who gives her baby up for adoption, that terrible scene when she's looking through the window on Christmas Eve, only to see her child thriving under the care of prosperous, more suitable parents. I studied the program. Oklahoma emblazoned across its face. And on the smallest line on the page, I traced the crawl. Based on the play Green Grow the Lilacs by Lynn. And it wouldn't matter how many people would call or write or even yell across the restaurant, "Why was your name so small?" Or the fact that I was left out of the very first special Pulitzer Prize ever awarded to a Broadway musical. Or Oscar Hammerstein's very generous public entreaty that Lynn Riggs is the soul of Oklahoma. After many unfair rebukes and complaints by friends and family, I had been given short shrift. In the end, it's a question of artistic quantum. How much of Oklahoma is really me? That same old question. All of it. In Choctaw, Oklahoma means red people. And I am Oklahoma, pure and simple. But in that moment, I didn't care. And I don't today. Because in the moments following the strains of "Oh, What a Beautiful Morning," and the thunderous applause which erupted after, I was filled with the essence of Rose Eller, my mother. Her fear of leaving me as a child, which I had absorbed and carried with me always, abated in that instant. I sensed her relief, her pride, and her joy, and her love for me, Raleigh, her Cherokee son who brought Oklahoma to the world. My father, William Riggs, was a rancher, old Appalachian stock. My father had very little interest in me when I was a child because I was not like my rugged cowboy brothers. I was a frail child. But my father, who had doubted my ability to fend for myself, was proud of what I had accomplished. This is my favorite letter to my dad. Dear Dad, I hope you don't mind, but when I found out the schedule of Oklahoma's national tour, I had to act fast, hoping you'd be able to go. I want to pay all expenses and railroad fare, Pullmans and hotel bills and restaurants and so forth. You can expect the theater tickets in about a week or 10 days. I do hope you can make it. I want very much for you all to see it. You might say that you are the father of the original author of Oklahoma, Lynn Riggs, and that you are making this special trip to see your son's show. Backstage, my father told all the dancers of Oklahoma, you wouldn't have jobs if it weren't for my son.